Macey, first of all, we want to thank you for being here. We are fortunate to have you. We're just blessed to be here. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Bringing the energy already. So listen, it's been a while since we've had a lady on the show, so we got to remember how to act. We got to remember our manners and everything. So, but for me, I'm looking forward to some different answers. A lot of these dudes, you get boring, start saying the same answers and over again. So we're starting you off with some real softballs.
Okay.
All right. So who is your favorite musician or band? Like right now or all time, don't even matter.
Okay. I really like Daniel Caesar. Do y'all know who that is?
I do. I'm going to be honest. I do not.
Hey, I like this answer because now we're going to get educated.
Right. More like R&B vibes.
Okay.
Um,
How do you spell Caesar? Is it like Caesar the Great?
I think like Caesar salad.
I love it. I'm in. I'm all the way in. I'm writing this down.
Right.
Daniel's already ready to do the intro music. He's ready to vibe to this R&B.
No, see, this shows my age because I'm over here trying to look up who this cat is. I've never heard of this person in my life.
Oh, it's an age thing. Did she age shame us like on the slip?
No. Also, like I'm a big Justin Bieber gal, like classic.
Oh yeah, there's nothing. Look, let me tell you what I love about Justin Bieber. Them Christmas songs, girl. You know what I'm saying? Mistletoe. I jammed to that thing. I ain't scared.
That Christmas album is amazing.
It is. I mean, it's a banger.
Right.
People be hating, but I will listen to some Justin Bieber.
Exactly.
I also have 2 daughters. Oh, we finna vibe.
Right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Macey's got better taste than all three of us. That's what I just learned.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, my next question, and I don't think it's gonna be the same answer, but maybe it is. I don't know what gets you hyped. If you're working out, what's the go-to hype music?
Like I have to be honest, like NBA YoungBoy maybe.
Oh, okay. I see. I knew we'd get a little gutter if we just kept asking the right question.
Right. Like
nobody
that
gets hyped.
Different.
Oh yeah. You like chilling at the crib.
Right.
That's when you throw on a little Daniel Caesar.
Right.
But okay. I feel that. So, did you watch any of the? You said NBA. Did you watch any of the All-Star game? Because I got some real beef with it, Macey. I have some real beef.
I'm gonna be honest. I only watched the dunk, like some of the dunks.
Look, that was dope. Max McClung. Like I'd only heard of him like one time before. My boy was doing his thing.
Right.
I don't know if he was getting hyped to R&B.
There were a few though that I was kind of like.
That's true. I think
that was actually the only thing I saw, Randy, because I saw that on SportsCenter, but I missed All-Star Weekend altogether. But I did see those dunks.
I think we should get rid of All-Star Weekend. That's my hot take of the day on and off the bench podcast.
McClung actually did what you should do, is just all in. You never know. He probably won't be there ever again. But
what did he have to lose?
No, he'll be back. He'll probably gladly defend his slam dunk championship.
Listen,
it won't matter because Randy will make sure it's canceled. So
we're canceling it. I'm not cancel culture, but I am on this. But listen, we got to know if we're going to cancel Macey with this next question. What is your favorite movie of all time? I got to, I don't get offended when I say this, but like I'm a big rom-com fan, and now with the Daniel Caesar, I'm thinking I'm thinking it's gonna be rom-com.
Okay,
making assumptions about a lady.
Right.
I'm just saying, I am.
Have y'all ever seen Ocean's 8?
Oh, of course.
No, but like the new one.
See, I think this is more age shaming.
No,
she goes, have you ever heard of Oceans?
Yeah. You hadn't heard of Daniel Caesar, you uncultured swine.
It was almost, you might as well have just yelled it like we couldn't hear you either.
Okay.
Daniel, I'm going to fire back with, has she ever seen Ladybugs? She don't know nothing about soccer if she's seen Ladybugs.
Rodney Dangerfield, baby.
But I'm going to have to say Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8. That is a different answer. See, I'm glad we asked these. All right, let me ask you this one. We had the COVID thing go down. Nobody was going to theaters. What is the last movie you saw in a theater? Have you ever seen a movie in a theater?
Oh, of course, yeah. Actually, before COVID or after, doesn't matter.
Last one you saw.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Encanto.
Whoa, you don't know how to pronounce Encanto?
Great.
Okay. I didn't want to assume. I didn't know.
We don't talk about that.
We all got kids. I've seen Encanto 1,000 times.
Right, it's a good movie.
I think that Encanto is on my TV right now downstairs. It's never off between that and just whatever other garbage they're putting on.
We don't talk about Bruno is my jam, bro.
We don't talk about
Right.
Bruno. Let's see Daniel Caesar get like that. Like I just did.
Exactly.
All right. The last question before I'm turning you over to Daniel. Favorite athlete growing up? This ain't even got to be your sport. Just favorite athlete you love watching.
I actually, this isn't obviously soccer, but I love Kobe.
Oh my, that's what
right.
we can't.
She won you over. She won you over big time.
Just his mentality, I think, has kind of it's just different than anything that you've ever seen, I think, you know. And for me personally, it's just very impressive and somebody that I've always wanted to learn from, just in terms of being like a competitor and stuff.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And what I love the most about Kobe, he was my favorite player for a long time. Me and Jim used to fight about this player, but I won't say the things Jim said about him. But
and I was going to fight him. I'll say what I said.
Jim, they were playing the Grizzlies. We're all from Memphis. And Jim was like, yo, my girl works at, Silky's. Kobe's going to be there. I'm going to fight him. And I'm like, Jim, the man is 6'6".
In my defense,
like 220.
In my defense, he punched Mike Miller in the throat that night in game.
He did. Look, Mike was wearing a beret. It was a whole thing. But what I love the most about the Kobe, obviously RIP to the Mamba, but seeing him become the dad that he was to his girls, that was, for me, I'm a father, I'm older. That meant so much, just to watch him instill that Mamba mentality in those girls is awesome to see, man. Awesome to see.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice when we have someone on here who appreciates Kobe the way you do, Randy. I can see how much like you can just feel Randy getting just the passion.
I have now 17 more questions.
But
did you watch the documentary on Netflix, the Redeem Team or whatever?
Oh yeah, I lived it, loved it. I watch it on repeat.
Right.
It was a good look for Kobe, for sure.
Yeah, it was.
There's no bad looks for Kobe. We don't talk about Colorado.
I mean, people that don't get Kobe will be the ones that talk smack about him, but he's on a different level.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you, Macey, on a different level for sure. But let's go back. All right, let's start the story from the beginning. Tell me a little bit about where you're from.
So I'm from Douglasville, Georgia. It's about 25 minutes from Atlanta. So kind of suburbs area. Grew up there my whole life. Started playing.
Let me tell you about Douglasville. Let me tell you about it. All right.
Do you know Douglasville?
I do. I've been to Douglasville many a time. I've played a lot of baseball and coached a lot of baseball in Atlanta, and it seems like Douglasville is where I go. The Drury Inn, right there in Douglasville.
Wait, you really know where Douglasville is?
I really do. Been there.
I feel like nobody ever knows that.
40 times in my entire life.
Wow, that's crazy.
So not a bad spot. Not a bad spot.
Yeah.
So a little bit outside of Atlanta. What I do know about the surrounding suburbs and the surrounding areas of Atlanta is the schools there are off the chain. Like it's like big schools. They all got like nice football facilities, nice baseball facilities, turf or field turf, you name it, man. It's got it all. But tell me a little bit about the area at which you grew up, as far as like, is it populated? Those that don't know a little bit about Douglasville, I mean, obviously, tell us a little bit about it.
I feel like over the past couple years, well, I say past couple, maybe the past 10 years, it's like gotten a lot more populated than it was. So when I was growing up, like little, I feel like it wasn't as populated, but once I got to like 8th grade, I feel like a lot of stuff was being built. And now when I go home, it's crazy. Like it's so much different than it was just a couple years ago, when I was home, like 4 years ago. But even then I thought it was like there was a lot going on, but now there's even more. But to answer your question, when I was there, I don't know, I can't like estimate how many people are there, but it's like a bigger place. I mean, compared to like Starkville, where I'm living now,
that's an easy comparison.
Right. Like night and day.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, you know, growing up, it's not a big place, not a small place, kind of, you know,
Right, just kind of medium.
yeah, a little medium size. But
Yeah.
family wise, who you got? Mom, dad in the picture? You got brothers, sisters?
Yeah, so I grew up with my mom, my stepdad, and then I have two sisters. I have an older sister who is currently 24, but she's special needs. And then I have a younger sister that's 14, about to be 15 in April.
All right, so that puts you right in the middle.
Yes.
So as a middle child, do you feel like you left out? You feel lost? Do you feel like nobody cares?
Therapy
Like,
session. Play that Daniel Caesar again.
right. Actually, I feel like technically I'm the middle, but I always kind of have felt like I'm like the oldest. Just because of like the family dynamics and my sister and everything. So I've always felt like I'm kind of like the my sister's keepers gal. Just growing up with her name's Alyssa. She has Williams syndrome. So now she currently kind of functions like she's like 14, so moderately impaired, but I've always kind of been like the oldest. But she thinks she's the oldest and she will tell me what to do. Don't get me wrong. She will still tell me what to do.
Oh, for sure. She said, "I ain't playing this game with you, Macey.
No,
I
literally.
run things. I run things up in here."
She thinks she does.
Oh man, that's crazy. So, obviously, you know, you're elite level soccer player, but was that the sport of choice as a kid, or did you play multiple sports?
I actually really only played soccer my whole life. I started when I was 4, and I actually hated it at first. I really did not like it. And I remember being like, when I was 7, I told my mom, I was like, I want to quit. Like, I don't want to do this. And then she's like, okay, well, you're gonna be the one that has to tell your coach. Um, and I didn't want to go quit like to his face, so I just stuck it out. And then ever since then, I've been playing. I played basketball in 8th grade just because there wasn't enough people to play. And I was really, really bad. I scored like 10 points the whole season. Um, yeah,
I mean,
not one game, like whole season.
you're the first athlete that has come on here and was honest about how good they are at basketball when they said they played basketball as another sport. Because we get dudes coming on here, and the first thing they want to say when we talk about playing multiple sports, they always say, "Oh, I could hoop. I was a hooper back in the day." And then like I don't ever believe it because most of the time we get the story straight from other folks that we
Right.
have on and they tell us, "No, that dude's terrible. He can't
No, I have
play."
to be honest. Like, I wasn't good. I had the heart
Daniel,
though. I had the heart.
Daniel, if someone asked me, because I was hooping up at the rec center, Randy was too. Look, I'm lying my ass off, dude. I was hooping.
Bro, I was cold as hell. They ain't see me.
Me and Randy played some church ball together. They don't even know what we was doing.
Bro, what?
Oh man. So that's like a what a mom move to tell you if you're gonna quit, you're gonna have to tell them yourself.
Right.
So like what happens if you call her bluff and you actually go over there? We could not be having this interview right now.
Right. No, actually. I think she knows me though. Like, I was very shy as a kid, so she knew I wouldn't go up and do that.
She knew exactly what to do.
Right, right.
Yeah. So then obviously if you didn't like it, at what point do you start liking it and you go, okay, this is more than just like this casual, like recreational league. This is something I could do like, on a much, more competitive scale, whether that be club or even, headed into high school.
Right. I feel like, so obviously I just finished that season out. And at that point soccer was just still, about fun and everything. So my mom just kept putting me in it. Even though, that one season I didn't like it, but I would say around 10 is when I really was like, oh, okay, I enjoy this. I'm decent at it. Like, I want to keep doing this. And then once I was 11 or 12, I tried out for like the club team. So that was just rec. And then I tried out for a club team. And that's when I really started to get serious about it. And I was like, okay, this is something that I would want to, possibly keep doing and play competitively. And I feel like ever since I started club, I just kind of fell in love with it. Um,
How old were you when you
it
started club?
like 11 or 12. Yeah.
And so that kind of, catapulted the career, obviously, because you're
Mhm.
now playing against much, higher level competition. And then obviously you springboard from there into high school.
Mhm.
What high school did you attend?
I went to Alexander.
Okay. So
Mhm.
at Alexander, and just bear with me because there's a lot of stats
Yeah.
that I'm about to read off here. All
Okay.
right, so you won the regional championship and advanced to Sweet 16 your senior season. Your
Mhm.
team your team was a regional runner-up your junior year. You were named the team MVP as a freshman, sophomore, and senior. You earned the 6A Player of the Year honors, um, as well as a sophomore, and was Douglas County Player of the Year as a senior. Earned first team all region honors in each of the final 3 seasons. And you were 2018 Disney Showcase and played with the Georgia Olympic Development Program for 5 years and spent 2019 with the UFA Development Academy. Now, that is a ton of accolades and a ton of just things. Like, that's unbelievable bio. When you hear someone tell you those things, what does that mean first and foremost to you?
Um, I think, it's just like appreciation. I really love what I do. And it's really not even about the accolades. I think it's great that I get them. But it's honestly just more about people seeing what I do and like appreciating it. Like I feel like it's art when I play, like not really me even playing a sport. It's kind of like how I um like express myself almost. So I feel very thankful that people kind of acknowledge it for that and see it in a kind of a deeper way, I guess, and can give me that recognition. Obviously, like I'm blessed and extremely thankful to have done what I've done and continue to, do what I do. So just thankful.
At when you're going through high school, are you do you ever go back and go, man, I could have quit this game?
So funny. I don't know if y'all know this. I actually quit soccer my senior year.
What? All
I
right, all
I
right.
You told him
Rewind.
in person this time.
Yeah.
yeah, I did
Rewind.
in person. I went.
I mean,
Uh,
I gathered that being that you went to school and didn't start with soccer, but go ahead and unload.
yeah. So recruiting was a lot different in high school. So now there's rules where you can't talk to coaches until your junior year, which I think is amazing because I started talking to schools when I was in 8th grade. And obviously, like, I can't even drive a car. I don't know why I'm talking to a college like about where I'm going to go. So my sophomore year, I committed to Vanderbilt to play soccer, and everything was great. Super excited. And then my senior year, I played soccer for my high school, and then I had a lot of family issues going on. My older sister, got a little like sick with her kidneys and everything, and then I was just in a super bad place mentally, and I didn't think that if I went in, I was gonna do well at all. So it was definitely one of the toughest decisions of my life, but I decided that it would be best for me to stay home. And at this point, when I quit, I thought I was done. I'm never playing soccer again. Um, like this is it. So I was like my last high school game, I was kind of in shock because I'm like, okay, I'm done. I told Vandy I wasn't coming. Um, and then so I graduated high school. Then that fall, I went to West Georgia, which is in Carrollton, like 30 minutes from my house. I would just drive there every day. I worked at Kroger, hung out with my family. I literally did not play soccer. I didn't think about soccer. I just kind of worked on myself and my mental health and spent time with my sister and my family.
So let
So
me
yeah.
let me ask this then. All right. Mental health, obviously there's a lot of, people that are coming out now, and mental health is like on the forefront. And I say that a lot of people are coming out. It's always been a thing.
Right.
But now people are okay coming out, explaining it, talking about it. For someone that has gone through something like that, how difficult would it have been if you had played soccer? Like, because I don't think people understand, they can't rationalize how difficult it is to like put your mind in the game when it's just physically not there.
Right. Um, I also think just like the environment here is so much in itself, just college athletics, no matter really what level you're playing at, but especially at such like a high level. Every day it's, school, weights, like soccer, running. You got to figure out when you're going to do your homework. So I think just the load already, and then with me not being okay, like emotionally, I think it would have been a disaster. And then also, like you were saying, if you're not doing well mentally, it really, you can always tell in the field. I think like we'll have bad days, obviously, like me and my teammates and our coaching staff can literally tell and come up and be like, hey, like what's wrong, something going on, because it's usually like evident in your game when you're not doing well mentally, you're elsewhere. So I think, mental health is something that should definitely be discussed within athletes, because I think everybody struggles with mental health, but especially when you're, expected to perform at such a high level at all the time, it can be even more draining. So yeah, I think like if I were to have went through with that, I would have probably gotten there and quit, or I would have just continued to spiral downwards.
Daniel, let me touch on that because I know Randy can agree with Lila, because Taylor's the same way. You can always tell by their play exactly what you just said, when they're mentally not there, when something's going on and it affects their play, which obviously affects the whole team. So like, I know Randy, I know you can attest to the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. I can tell as soon as she's warming up. I know. I can see it. But there's nothing you can do to get her out of it. You got to let them get out of it. And that, my friend, is the hardest part about being the dad, right? Because I can't fix it for her. And that part sucks.
What's crazy, Macey, is that it's, my hat's off to you, because this is something like that load that you were talking about. It wasn't easy when you were in high school. So prior to your senior season, I mean, you're playing club ball. I mean, the Olympic development program, you got all of these things going on. Like, the soccer was only about to continue its load, especially at the college level, that's the trajectory that you were on. But prior to college, obviously, you had a chance to go down and play at the Disney Showcase. You had a chance to play on the Olympic development program. Of those two experiences, how would you best describe those?
Um, the Disney Showcase was always just so much fun. Like so much competition. It was great. I really
You won that, by the way.
yeah. That was fun. The one of the best experiences though, definitely would have to be ODP. Like so many girls that I played with. I feel like it took my game to another level, because it was obviously the best players in each state coming together, and then we would go to a regional event, and so it'd be all the Southeast teams, like the best, however many girls, 20, 30, and we're all training together. And I think it was like 2018 that I went to England with the regional team. So I got chose out of the Southeastern girls, and there was like 18 of us. And I spent like 2 weeks in England, and I worked with, at the time, he was the LSU coach. And I don't know, but it was just great to get obviously different coaching perspectives, but to also be surrounded with girls at like the next level. So I think that was great just to continue to drive like my development in the game, just being around the competition that I was.
So that leads us into my last little set of questions, and really you touched on why you didn't end up playing and you ended up at West Georgia.
Mhm.
But eventually you go to Mississippi State. So and you play. So how does not playing and being at West Georgia turn into you committing, going to Mississippi State and deciding to play soccer?
Okay, so my senior season probably ended in like April. And then so from April to I'm not even kidding you, maybe November, I didn't think about soccer, like I didn't want to hear about it. I was done. Whatever. And I was like, it's whatever. And then I guess November kind of rolls around, and I have a really close friend that went to University of Florida and played soccer. We grew up together. Her name was Lainey. And I went and visited her at one of her games and watched. And I just kind of sat there and I was like, there's no way that I gave this up. Like this was gonna be me. Um, and I stayed with her for the weekend, and I just kind of tagged along and watched training and everything. And that was kind of the switch for me. I was like, okay, like I gave it up, but just being in that environment, I was like, there's no way I don't want to not try it out. So I think reality kind of hit, because before then, it was kind of like out of sight, out of mind. I was avoiding it. I wasn't trying to think about it. So then when I went and visited her, it was kind of like a switch, and I was like, oh, like, this is something that I really do want to try. And
Yes.
so I had talked to Mississippi State when I was in my recruiting process before I committed to Vandy, when it was under different coaches. But when James was at Auburn at that time, Nick was at Columbus State, and Brian was at Georgia Southern. And I'd taken visits to those places. And then I knew James, just kind of knew him. So whenever they heard that I was trying to play again, they reached out, and yeah, I just was kind of like, okay, let's do it.
Well, it's a blessing in disguise because, I didn't want to say nothing because you were telling a serious story in regards to when you brought up Vanderbilt. And we have two rules on this show. We don't interview Vanderbilt athletes and we don't interview Florida athletes, but you just brought up Florida a minute ago. Good thing you didn't follow your friend, because then Macy, you never would have came on and off the bench podcast. So this is a good thing. We have a
Right.
little
almost
problem.
when she said Florida, I almost like involuntarily booed, but like I held it back for you, basically. Like we're
Thank
homies
you.
now.
Thank you. She doesn't go to Florida anymore, though. She doesn't go to Florida anymore.
Oh, so even she got smart. Okay, cool.
Right. Yeah, she transferred.
That's what's up. So, you talked about what Starkville was like, coming from Georgia, you get to Starkville, what are the emotions? What are your thoughts when you first get on campus?
Um, I got there, my mom, my stepdad, and my grandparents moved me in. At first, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be great. This is awesome. We move my stuff into the dorms, and then they leave, and I'm like, the door closes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Because at this point, I didn't know anybody. Like, I decided to come in a month before. So by the time I committed, it's almost December. I was coming in January. Never went on an official visit to meet the girls. Like, didn't know. The last time I'd been in Starkville was when I was probably like 15. So I just show up, move my stuff in. My parents leave. I'm like, reality hits. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then classes start. I'm like, okay, I can do this. And then training starts. And I was definitely not where I needed to be. Just because I was out for almost a year, and I was doing stuff on my own, but it doesn't even compare to what you do here in this program or in any program. So it was kind of like a very rude awakening. But it was great because it was kind of like this is what it is, and I rose to that level. But I mean, I'll be honest with y'all. Like, we have fitness tests, and I came in and I could never pass a fitness test.
Oh, wow.
I'm being serious. Like, I was one of the worst, absolute worst. Like, I couldn't run, I couldn't lift that much. And now, like, I pass every fitness test. I'm doing great. I just, I figured out like what work was required to be here, and I wanted to put it in. So I feel like that was the difference. But yeah, when I got here, I was not prepared.
What's interesting is I was talking about the last time that we had a guest on, a female guest, and we had Grace Doherty from Memphis, and she played every single minute of the entire season, and we were talking about how she had set a record for minutes, and it's just like, how are you able to be able to maintain that stamina? And she looked at us and she goes, honestly, like, actually, probably don't tell my coach, I do less than most of the other girls, and we're like, well, that doesn't make sense. So. But I get the fitness thing, and I heard your coach preaching it the other day during the ID camp to the girls, talking about if you're going to play at this level, the amount of energy, and you got to give it for 90 minutes. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. So let's get into it. Freshman year, played in 13 games, started in 12 before COVID, of course, hit. We'll talk about that in a second, but talk about before it shut down, what it was like as a freshman, and also just talk about the difficulty of playing, because you talked about being out of the game, and then you come in and you're playing in the SEC. So just talk about that.
So I came in. So when I came in, it was spring of 2020. I came in January, and then we went home for spring break in March, I think. And then that's when they told us, oh, you're not coming back. So that's when COVID hit. So I really only got 2 months of like training in, and then we were home for a couple of months, and then we came back for July workouts. And that in itself was crazy. Like, going in the facilities, like, you had to have a mask on, obviously. You got your temperature checked. If it was over, 99.9, you're going home. And we would work out in small groups. Like, and we had to stay far away from each other. It was crazy. And then obviously when season came around, we usually have like 20 games or something like that. And that year we only played like 14. We usually have 22 games. That year
y'all played 13.
Yeah, 13. And the difference was we didn't have like the non-conference segment. So genuinely, it was crazy, like, because normally, you have time to work up, so you're playing, non-conference, you're getting comfortable. No, like, our first game was Auburn, like, this is an SEC game, SEC play, like, points are on the line, everything. So I remember it was at Auburn. I didn't start that game, and I was on the bench, and I wasn't thinking I was gonna get off. So, and I was fine with that because I was very nervous. And I see James like peek down the line, and we all stand during the game, just lined up, and I see him peek down the line, and he's like, Hodge. And I'm like looking around, I'm like, me? And he's like, yeah. And like in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. But I went in, like, played pretty well. And then ever since then, I've just, kept climbing. But yeah, it was definitely hard because I feel like the non-conference segment would have given me a lot more confidence, instead of just jumping straight in with like, SEC vets. But that's what it was, and that's what I had to do,
Hey,
so
yeah, get put right to the fire, and then
right.
you go in the game when you're not ready. But hey, like you
Right.
said, it only made you stronger. So obviously the COVID stuff and all that, but and what's funny is I pictured you said working out in a mask, and you're saying that you're trying to get yourself back in shape and fitness, and I'm picturing you trying to get in shape while having to wear this mask. This is just really not helping matters.
Right.
So sophomore year, when things are starting to get back to normal, you started and played in all 16 matches. You played midfielder, correct?
Yeah, I play holding mid.
Okay, and that's what I wanted to break down, because not all our listeners know exactly, because midfield is, obviously with my daughter playing, having a better understanding. They generally just think you're in the middle, but you can be attacking mid, you can do defensive mid. It could also just be upon the alignment of your coach. So For you,
Right.
for what you do for your team, explain your role.
So my role, I sit right in front of the defense. So they're called center backs, the two girls in the middle that protect the goal. So I'm right in front of them. So my main jobs are really to help them out defensively, to win balls like out of the air. So when a goalkeeper punts it, like it needs to be me going up, winning the header. And then also I'm kind of the link between the defense and the offense. So when the defense needs help, like building the ball out and connecting passes, like I need to be the one to get it and then try to give it to the forwards or to the midfielders above me.
And exactly, and you made it sound so simple, and it's funny, Macy, how my daughter makes it so hard. So she's always played center back, and she got moved up to defensive mid, and she acted like the world was going to end. I can't play this. I've never played before, and it's basically saying you're doing almost the same thing. You're just now what you said, the link between to the offense, and so it's funny how it could be overcomplicated sometimes.
Right.
So in that sophomore year, obviously, you get the full season under your belt and everything. Obviously, Mississippi State's not where they're at now, and we'll get to that. But talk about now that you've got your feet wet from the first year and you're really into the system. Talk about the progress you made.
So I think it was for me to even play my freshman year was great. I think the experience really kind of helped me out and showed me what the SEC actually was like. And then so the next year I was a little bit more prepared just going into those games. But I feel like my sophomore season, I would say I just got very comfortable and my confidence started building. I was like, my freshman year, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for this. That was kind of my mindset the whole time. But my sophomore year was more of like, okay, like I'm here. I'm making an impact. Like I'm doing my job to the best of my ability. And so I think my sophomore year was just more about me like cultivating my confidence almost. And that year is when I started my role as a captain. So at that time I was kind of like, okay, like my coaches believe in me, my teammates believe in me, why not believe in myself, and I think that that season I really kind of came out of my shell personality wise, also just on the field feeling very comfortable to play the way that I do. So yeah, I feel like my sophomore season was more of me just getting comfortable and starting to kind of thrive in the conference.
And boys, let me tell you, I thought it was great, Randy, that she led off the episode talking about the mama mentality. If you watch Macey play, she doesn't smile, right? It's on. And Daniel, for you, who's on the fence on soccer, she's about physicality. So she speaks to both of you. Both these guys aren't soccer guys like me, but if they're going to watch, you're the type of player they want to watch.
Y'all should watch a game.
There's only one question though. I mean, that me and Daniel both have a rule. I mean, like what kind of like yellow cards, red cards? What are we talking? You get those?
Oh, let me tell you, this fall, so you can get 5 yellow cards in conference and then you're done.
Like done.
Not
like
done,
how long?
but you're suspended. You're suspended for a game. But okay, so I was on 4 by the time the SEC tournament rolls around, right? So our last game, I can't remember who our last game was against. I think it was Georgia. So I was on 4 at Georgia. If I would have gotten one more, then I would have been out the SEC tournament. So my coach comes up to me, he's like, like you can't be afraid, you can't play scared, don't try to avoid tackles just because you don't want to get suspended, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I remember one of my first tackles of the game, the ref blows the whistle and he's like, no more. And I was like, listen, like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I won't do it again. So I got through that. Got through that game, took a deep breath, and then my yellow cards reset.
Oh, reset. Okay, so then it was on.
And we had Shannon Cook from LSU on, and she talked about that. She had 4 as well. For me, I would just keep playing the way you do, and if it happens, it happens. Yeah. But you were smart in thinking about when it was, and I can't affect my team. You got to be there for your team, so it's kind of hard.
Right.
But Macey, do the other teams know how many yellow cards you have? Like, are they
Yeah.
like
Sure,
they're
they
like
do.
Yeah, we
going
messed
like
with Macey
after you?
today.
DB,
Well,
I mean, where are we at here? What's our verdict here? I mean, she didn't get a suspension. I mean, where are we at here?
right.
I'm,
No, but it's public
I-
knowledge. Like sometimes we'll know that a girl's on however many cards and you can use it to your
I'm going at her.
I mean, I ain't gonna stop how I play, but I'm a fan of you because you got to a point where you were aggressive, but not overly aggressive to hurt your team. So
right.
I can get with that. But what I can't get with is how many games did you guys tie?
This year?
Yeah.
I actually know the answer to that. It's 3.
If it's more than one, that's one. That's
He
too
doesn't.
many.
He doesn't. But he's a hockey fan, Macey. So and they tie, but it's okay then.
Right. I
It's-
don't understand why people have problems when soccer like can tie. Like why does it matter?
Well,
Well, hold on, Daniel. Do you have a problem more with a tie or ending in penalty kicks?
equally as
both,
bad?
both.
They're both.
I just wish that they would.
Macy's
just
about to
play
get
it
a
out.
yellow card right now.
I just wish they would let you guys play it out because one, I feel like ending in a tie is just like the cheap way outs. I think you guys you didn't show up there to go, yeah, let's just tie.
Let me be devil's advocate here, though. You can also tie in the National Football League.
And there was ties this year.
There were ties.
I'll tell you worse than that, Daniel, because Macey knows about this in club ball. My problem is, and I told y'all this when we were playing, when my daughter was playing club and was playing for the Mississippi State title, not like Mississippi State Bulldogs, but the state of Mississippi title. They tied the first team the first game, which already you don't like, Daniel, but both teams went on to win their next 4. And then her team got silver and the other team got gold because of goal differential. Now that'll piss you off.
Yeah.
That's trash.
Yeah.
I think that pool play in general is just trash.
Unless you're seeding like a
Yeah.
softball tournament or something, or baseball, whatever. But for like to decide who gets a medal, no way.
Right.
And here was the thing, Macey. Their game had already ended before ours, and they already knew they were going to win goal differential. They went ahead and grabbed their medals and rolled out. And I was mad because I was going to go talk to the coach, and I'm not even the coach of my daughter's team, and be like, "Y'all
Right.
scared? Let's do this.
That's
Y'all want
crazy.
to run it out?" I knew the head of
Right.
officiating. He's been on this show, Lawrence Daniel. Lawrence would have reffed that game. Hey, line them up.
Right.
You're
That's crazy.
you're making assumptions for Lawrence.
No, Lawrence would do it. Hey, he's just like any other ref. If you pay him his hourly salary, he'll do it. And I got the money to pay for that game.
You're gonna have to pay me double or triple.
Yeah, I
I'll
want
pay-
overtime, baby.
If you don't think I'll pay double or triple to watch my team or my daughter's team play a team that they tied and then they both ran the gauntlet, we'll do this. But Macey, they say they don't like it, but let me tell you something. Daniel went and watched Grace Doherty when she went and played against UCF because he lives in Tampa.
Mhm.
And I promise you that if Mississippi State is down there playing anywhere in his region, he's lying to you. He will go and support you, especially now that he knows you get yellow cards.
But let me make something clear, crystal clear. If you have 4 yellow cards going into that game that I come and see, you're gonna get suspended.
So let me ask you a question. All right. And, well, no, you know what? I'm gonna save this question until after the 2021 season because the question will relate to that. So
Okay.
let's get into 2021. All right. Obviously, the team is still not quite where you're at, but you're developing. You're getting better. You got wins against A&M and Ole Miss at home. And I wanted to ask about the Ole Miss, which will lead to the question I was going to ask. Is the Ole Miss rivalry in women's soccer just the same as it is between Mississippi State and Ole Miss and everything else?
Yes.
So you hate them wenches?
Yes.
I love it. Like she seems like she's biting her tongue as she
Yeah,
wants
like
to
I'm
say
just
something.
gonna yeah.
Okay, so which will lead me to this question. This past season, and you talk about the timing of getting the 5th yellow card and not wanting to cost your team. Obviously I'm an LSU fan, and so and we can't stand Ole Miss in this house either. And you know, the brawl that happened between LSU and Ole Miss in the last game of the season, which then led to LSU having 2 starting defenders going into the NCAA tournament not playing.
Yeah.
But I ask you this. being that Ole Miss is a team that is a rival, did you enjoy watching LSU melee on them? Be honest.
Honestly, we were warming up. We were playing Texas A&M right after them. So all of a sudden we hear yelling because we were behind on the practice field. So like the game field is right here, practice field in the stands, and we hear yelling. And so we're being nosy. So we walk over, and we just see them fighting, and we were like,
throwing straight
what?
fists too, not girl fighting. They were throwing.
Right, like crazy. So at first we were just in shock, and we went into the locker room before the game, and then James was like, if y'all ever did something like that, you're going straight home. Just think about that.
Well,
and it's also crazy because like I know both sides. So obviously we know everybody kind of knows each other within the conference. But I was like, just because I personally know some of them, I was like, what? It was just crazy.
So I personally know Rainey really well, and I know why she did what she did. So we were at the LSU Ole Miss game last year. They were yelling racial and sexist slurs at her,
Really?
and then it was getting chippy on the field. And so we had her on post that, and she talked about that was the worst game of soccer she's ever played in her life. Not like how she performed, but environment and everything came in. And so after that incident happened, I messaged her and I said, did that play a role? And she said, absolutely, because if you saw the video, obviously she came flying in out of nowhere.
Right,
so she saw an opportunity to get a little get back, and she jumped all over it. Plus, it was her best friend already throwing fists, so she had her teammates back. But I was intrigued to know what you thought. Ole Miss being your rival, you saw them, in a haymaker
I was in
fight.
shock. I was like, wow.
So that's what's up. I love that y'all are rivals. That's a game I'm gonna have to make it to next season, especially since I'm not a fan of Ole Miss, so I'm down. So let's get to this year. Let's get to where it really just got jumping. What a year y'all had. You were obviously named SEC preseason player on the SEC preseason players watch list. Y'all don't lose until your 14th game, Macey. Obviously, there's a couple ties in there that'll bother Daniel, but 11 wins, 2 ties. You don't lose until South Carolina. So what is it like to be on that win streak?
It was crazy. I think, and you look at like the beginning of our non-conference where we played like Minnesota, we played Lipscomb, teams that we've really lost to in the past. So I think to come out the way that we did, we just kind of took it game by game, and our confidence grew. And I think just defensively, there was a different kind of mentality towards it. Like we wanted to, be super gritty, like be a defensive unit. I think that was the difference this season, because we emphasized just being like almost blue collar and what we did, and just wanting to outwork our opponents. So I think the win streak at the beginning, it was awesome. Obviously, it kind of felt like things were paying off. I think obviously when you're winning as much as we were, I think my thoughts as like a leader on the team was, okay, how is the group going to respond if or when, we get our first loss. So obviously that rolled around with South Carolina, but it was never we're sorry for ourselves, like let's hang our heads. It was just, okay, like they beat us, next up, let's bounce back.
But you knew at some point it had to come to an end. Chances of you winning them all were
right, for sure.
And Randy can speak to this. We didn't have Daniel really active on Twitter yet, but the Mississippi State baseball fans are very active. And when y'all were winning, they jumped all over it. They were like, "We're a soccer school." They were posting every win. They were talking trash to all the other SEC teams. So they loved it. So just so you know, like everybody was jumping on
That's awesome,
on that train. So I was at the LSU game. Y'all said the record crowd there, it was absolutely electric, and so I want to ask you for that, like not just the stands full, but people out on the berm. You saw people of all ages. They had their dogs. It was awesome. The cowbells were ringing. What's it like, when you think about the state of the program, where y'all were at just a couple of years before, struggling, to not just a win streak, but to have that kind of crowd and that kind of support?
Yeah, I think it's so crazy. I mean, obviously to be a part of the growth, and to see, like you said, where we were just, I mean, when I came in, almost 4 years ago to where we're at now, um, it kind of gives me like goosebumps because I just want to, continue to see it just growing. But like I said earlier, just like super thankful to be a part of it. It's definitely something super, super special. Like you mentioned, like the fans now are crazy. When I'm playing, like there really are like the extra motivation, you're out there, you're tired, but then you hear people ringing the cowbells, yelling your name, like you see the stands packed. It's crazy. And I just love that this community like really does invest time in the athletes that are out there working. And I think it's awesome, just to see what the program has done and also be a part of it.
Yeah, and I mean it's a good thing that we sit here and talk about Daniel hoping to see you away, because I know one thing Daniel wouldn't tolerate, so he wouldn't do Starkville. Daniel, you tolerating cowbells at a soccer game?
No,
not a chance.
not in the slightest.
Oh, come on.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
I've done it.
And it wasn't fun, was it?
Randy liked it. He liked he went to the softball atmosphere. He loved it.
No, there were not a lot of cowbells at the softball. It was all good though. But yeah, definitely beautiful, beautiful campus. That's
Right.
all I can say about Starkville is it's a beautiful campus.
I mean, their athletic facilities are legit. I mean, you got to
no doubt. That's what they do well there. Jim, we went to your bachelor party there. You know I'm not.
But they didn't do well. LSU rolled, but that's a whole different story.
They did, but they got beautiful facilities. I got nothing. And hey, wonderful people. Wonderful, like you, Macey. Wonderful people.
Thank you.
So
yeah, I don't let the cowbells jade me from the people that go.
Right. My grandma loves the cowbells. That's her favorite part about coming to watch the games.
Really?
Yeah, she has like her own cowbell. It says like Nana, and on the back it says like number 4 Macey.
Oh,
She
I love
loves
it.
Oh, and she's ringing it all game. Like it's kind of nonstop, and I kind of like look over. I'm like, okay, Nana, like
do you
get it, Nana?
Do you got one with the bellsmith yet?
What?
Do you have your own custom bell with the bellsmith yet?
I don't. I have a student athlete one.
I got you. We got you. Bellsmith's one of our sponsors. I got you, Macey. You're gonna have a cowbell immediately. So you ladies get selected to the NCAA tournament and get to host the first game. Obviously I know by that time though it's cold. Was the atmosphere electric then, or was it a little down because a lot of people don't want to sit out there and watch soccer in the cold? I know as a dad that if it was anybody other than my daughter, it's not happening.
Right. We played New Mexico. It actually was a pretty nice day. So there was a pretty big amount of people. But it also was a day game, and just the vibe between like day games and night games is like a lot different. So even though there was a lot of people, it didn't feel as like electric, but obviously, the fans still helped out. But just the vibe between like day and night games are very different in general. Cause I think we played at like 1 p.m. maybe.
Well, y'all won, and I can tell for a fact because I watched this game on TV, and I know it was cold in Fayetteville. So y'all go to the Fayetteville regional. Before we talk about the game, I mean, what's it? We talk about it. I talk about it with my daughter all the time. Just It's hard, like to be able to get yourself going when it's that cold out there on the soccer field. Is it the same way for you?
Oh my goodness! Like, I cannot tell you how freezing I was in Arkansas. It was crazy. I didn't expect it to be that cold. Genuinely, I really didn't. I would have brought some leggings or something because I was freezing. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. And I was doing everything to warm myself up, but I'm from Georgia.
Mountains are different.
Right. I was not used to the cold.
Randy, that's why you really got your daughter into softball. You weren't going to do any of the cold weather, huh?
Bro, that's a lie. There's been so many winter times. Our last tournament of the fall last year, I told her that she could keep playing, but I was quitting.
So obviously y'all play Memphis and it doesn't go well. you have ambitions to win a title, but to get to the second round of the NCAA tournament, just talk about how much fun and like you said, you talked about that growth of the program, just how accomplished you still feel even after that loss.
Yeah, so like the loss was obviously really devastating. But looking at the season as a whole, we were very, very happy with how things went, especially considering the circumstances that we had. So we had 4 ACL tears of girls that played significant minutes, one of them being our other captain. So we had 2 other captains, Alyssa and Ange was a 5th-year senior on like had made the SEC team like the past couple years. Then we had so many injuries, and people who were quote unquote starters were the people that were injured, and they were season ending. So I think to go as far as we did, we were using our bench most of the time. I think it was crazy, and I think it was a great opportunity for those girls to get a chance to develop in a way that they wouldn't have been able to without, unfortunately, the injuries. But to have the success that we did, it was something really special because of kind of the adversity that we faced over the season. Because non-conference, like we talked about, was great. Life was good. We were unbeaten. Like we had we're at full depth, had the whole roster. And then we get to the beginning of SEC play. Then we start on the injuries, and then ended up losing a good amount of influential big time players in the SEC. And just to, like I said, to do what we did, it was very special. And so the loss sucked, but we were just super happy and for what we did do, with the circumstances.
I feel like the committee who does for NCAA soccer hates me. So going back to last year, so we only root for 4 teams in this house when it comes to soccer, and 2 of them we already did. But then after guests on the show and things that we've done, like you said, the ID camp and stuff, like we root for LSU, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Memphis, and they put 3 of y'all in the same bracket this year.
Yeah.
Last year they matched up LSU and Memphis in the first round. The only good thing I could say was LSU came to Memphis, so I was able to go drive 25 minutes to go see it. But I don't understand why they keep putting they don't even give a chance for multiple teams that I root for to go far. They because it was obviously y'all faced Memphis, and then Memphis had to turn around and face Arkansas. I was like, all right, this isn't as fun as it could be.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I know I look forward to. Tell me what what we got to look forward to, because one of the things that I've been telling people, with my daughter going to numerous SEC ID camps, I was really impressed by your coaching staff. Dunleavy, but Zimmerman was my guy. Like I loved watching his drills and everything, and so I look forward to continuing to watch y'all after what I saw from them. So talk to me about what we got to look forward to next year. I mean, is it going to be continued growth, or are we taking another step?
Right. I think for sure, you look at the season that we had and super happy, but we all kind of made a commitment at the end of the fall, and we said, okay, like we did this, but we want to be even better next fall personally and as a team. So spring kind of in the 8-hour weeks is about individual growth. So how strong are we getting? How much faster can we get? Like how much better on the ball can we get? And then obviously starting 20-hour weeks, we're doing a lot more team things. So how much more team chemistry can we get? How can we improve our movement? How can, my teammates know what I'm going to do and I know what they're going to do. So I think, obviously the goal is to keep, pushing in the right direction, and with the coaching staff that we have and things that we're doing, not only on the soccer field, but in the weight room, we're covering kind of all the bases when it comes to fitness, strength, soccer, or even just tactical components of the game. So I think this spring is all about kind of growth in everybody's individual areas, but also as a team. And then I think that's just going to push us forward going into the fall, because all the work that we're going to put in now is definitely going to pay off going in there. So yeah, big things ahead. I'm
Big
excited.
things, more cowbell.
Yes. Yeah, more cowbells.
More
Yes.
cowbell. Not for DB, but for everybody else. So listen, Macey, that great story. Loved hearing it. Looking forward to all the great things that are coming up for you and Mississippi State soccer. But we got to get you kind of on the hot seat now. We're going to play a little game.
Okay.
It's called This or That. There's very simple rules. I'm going to give you two options, and you cannot say neither, and you cannot say both. You got to pick one. You got to pick the other.
Okay.
So this training that you've been doing, it's got nothing on what we're about to do. No, I'm just kidding. Very easy, very easy. So we'll start you off with a relatively easy question. One place is going to hate you, though. Better food, Georgia or Mississippi?
Georgia.
Actually,
neither.
Do you go to the baseball games, Macey?
I do.
And they don't feed you in the left field lounge? Because your answer would be different if they did.
I haven't eaten there.
Oh,
go out there and see our boy Lounge,
so yeah,
Lounge Dog.
We're gonna get her taken care of. You go see Lounge Dog, and so now we're gonna get you a bell and we're gonna get you some food.
We're taking care of you. So yeah, definitely. But you know what? I think I agree with you. I've spent enough time in Georgia, in Atlanta, and Savannah. I have family there. I think it's good food.
Right, good food. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I just spent a week in Atlanta a couple weeks ago. Very, very busy. The traffic is insane. I don't know how people deal with that every day. All right. So the next question, and I think I already know the answer, but here I'm not going to have any more preconceived notions of
you.
Beach or lake?
Beach.
See, I would have been right that time. I mean,
that was your guess?
Yeah, because I'm a beach guy too, because I don't really want to get into the lake when the water's all green and I can't really see what's underneath me. I'm not vibing with that.
My family loves the lake.
I don't hate the lake. I would just prefer the beach.
They're big camping people.
Oh, well, I'm just kidding. I'm down. So, all right, let me ask you a question. Are we talking camping or glamping? There's a pretty big difference.
Glamping.
Okay, so they got the big camper with the air conditioning. Okay, me too, because I can glamp, but I ain't that pulling the look. Let me tell you a little story, Macey. Last time I went to Spring River over in Arkansas. I don't even know if you know what that is, but I went over there. It was hot as hell. And like day 3, we're in tents. Like, all right, we're packing up to leave. I started taking down my tent. I got so frustrated. I picked it all up and threw it in the garbage can. I'll never do another tent again.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. And it was like that 2-room tent thing. You know what I'm saying? It was not pretty sight. And I don't know why me and my first wife got divorced, but I'm pretty sure that played into it. Pretty sure that was the reason. All right. So the next question, would you rather like just on a normal, I guess it depends on the situation, but wear sweats or a dress?
Sweats.
Absolutely.
I asked that question and because that's how my daughter feels, and I wanted to see if she felt the same.
Oh, yes. Yes, 100%.
So obviously I have two daughters. I have a wife and everything. And I think that like are like leggings like the new sweats, because like that's just what I see every day.
Right. Like a lot of people like leggings. Personally, I prefer sweats over leggings, but a good pair of leggings is pretty comfortable.
I feel you. I feel you. They all got like something that's a Lululemon that costs me like $800 a pair.
Right. So I'm very comfortable.
How can they be more comfortable than sweats? I feel like that's why sweats were created, because they were like, you know what? We need to find the most comfortable thing on earth.
Macey, we now know that Daniel has never put on a pair of Lululemon leggings.
Right. I was going to say maybe you should try them.
It's Fabletics for dudes, my guy. But either way. And I feel like just from this interview, I know the answer to this one too, but glass half full or glass half empty?
Half full.
Of course, it's half full always.
No,
all right.
No, it's half empty, my guy.
Oh, true. But all right. So if you could pick one or the other, would you rather go to a concert or a sporting event?
Any concert or any sporting event?
Any. I'm talking like any. In the world.
I would say like if I could go to like a World Cup final or something, I'm definitely choosing that
over any concert. Okay, well the next question was going to be what's the sporting event, but thank you for jumping ahead of us, Macy.
I'm curious to know the concert though. I mean, or is she going to hit that R&B, Smooth Caesar, or what are we doing?
Right.
So have you seen Daniel Caesar in person in concert?
I haven't. He came to Atlanta, but it was like he's not like super big, I feel like.
Yeah. So is he like in like a tiny little venue?
Yeah, he was in a small venue. So
Does
I would
everybody
love
like
to
get their
be in
phones
there.
out and turn their flashlights on and like wave them around?
You go like this, yeah.
Exactly. See, when we were growing up, it was lighters. You know, I don't think they let
Right.
y'all do that anymore. It's
Look, Randy, I know that y'all turn y'all's phones off, and I'm going to tell you what that buzz was. That was Macey Hodge getting invited by Lounge Dog to the left field lounge.
Lounge always comes through for us. Shout out Lounge. They're having therapy sessions for Mississippi State baseball. So the next question, this is going to be a good one. Would you rather be attacked by a tiger or a grizzly bear? And don't be like the last guy and say that you could outrun a grizzly bear, because Macey, you cannot.
That was your guy from Tennessee. Just don't forget.
I'm gonna say tiger.
Why were you going to say tiger?
I
Because I
don't
would say
know.
tiger too.
Because she said they beat LSU, bro.
Well,
I feel like a bear is like more scary because it's standing up.
I
on its
agree. And let me
legs.
tell you another story. You know, you sound like you see these crazy people that like have tigers as pets and they're like
Right.
rubbing on them as like their cats, you know, purring and
Uh-huh.
whatnot. I ain't never seen nobody have a grizzly bear as a pet,
Right.
just chilling
Exactly.
Daniel, you better tell her why it's a tiger, or why it's not a tiger. So
Look, let me tell you something, Mason. When you're a bear, you spend a quarter of your year sleeping.
Right.
That means he's a quitter. On the other hand, you have a tiger who what do you know? You know much about tigers?
But it also means the bear is well rested.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
he might not get tired because he slept so much.
Okay, true. But
Have you seen Cocaine Bear previews? Okay, buddy.
But a tiger does their hunting when?
At nighttime.
At night. And that's one scary mother.
So, but do you know, like, the male tigers don't even do the hunting?
No, that's
Right, it's the
lions.
female.
That's lions, bro.
Oh.
Tiger, there's a difference?
Yes. And don't ever
So
disrespect tigers.
Look,
You're telling me that a male tiger does the hunting?
They both do, because they're badass.
I think we're gonna have to fact check this. All I know is I saw Cocaine Bear. He caught up to an ambulance going full speed. Okay, so I don't want none of that smoke. And you can't climb a tree to get away from it. They'll climb it with you. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Male tigers not only do the hunting, but they do it alone, not in packs.
See, this is why I don't like tigers. They're solo acts.
That's
man.
Daniel's.
I'm big on
He's
family.
scary. He's off in the night, in the bushes. You're not seeing it.
You know
I think it's the longest we've ever went on this question.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the last question I got for you before you get off the hot seat, and this is definitely one that your friends are probably going to judge you on, but I want you to answer it honestly.
Okay.
Would you rather betray your best friend or be jailed for a crime you did not commit?
Like, what crime is it?
No. Let me tell you something, Macey. We're not gonna quantify this thing with
This
crime.
I feel like that plays into the decision.
I'll tell you,
are
10
you gonna
plus
go to
years.
jail? Yeah, we're talking. You're going to jail for 10 years.
plus years.
Or you can betray your best friend. Caveat here: these are two of my best friends snitching off top, singing like a canary.
And
Yep.
wait, betray and they're going to jail, or that's just
No.
different scenarios?
Totally different. We're just saying.
let's get the answer to both. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, this is stressful.
no, I don't want to answer the other one. That was the question.
Yeah, no. I feel you on that. All
I
right.
tell you what, only because I know your kids would I not put y'all in jail. But I'm going to tell you right now, if y'all didn't have those kids, I'd put y'all in jail. In a heartbeat.
Look, I don't give a damn about your kids.
Dang, you just gonna leave my kids out to dry like that?
Wowzers, we're
Jackson.
learning. Well, this is the last In Off the Bench podcast episode. All right, back to Macey. This is Macey's episode.
They'll be all right.
This is Macey's episode. Are you betraying your best friend or are you going to jail for something you did not do?
Okay, Kata, if you hear this, I'm so sorry, but I think I might have to betray you. I
Yo,
don't want to go to jail
yo.
for 10 years. That's a little excessive. If it was
Just-
three or less,
3?
I
Hey,
would
that's
say-
dedication. I'm not doing 3 for either of y'all either.
Macey, let me tell you something. If a police officer said, "Sir, you could do 3 minutes in this jail or snitch on Daniel Ball," I'd be like, "Daniel, one time we was in 9th grade and that dude cheated on the test. He is out of there. 3 minutes, 3 seconds. If he even tells me I got to get in the back of the cop car, I'll be like, one time I saw him going to Disney World, he got on the wrong train. And that's a true story.
That is a true story. I told Randy I'll be there in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
35 minutes.
Yeah. I was like, yo, man, you good? He's like, so it's been a morning and we got on the wrong train. I'm like, damn, you're the one that lives here, cousin. You got lost. He's like, it's easy to do in Disney World. It's the happiest place on earth.
Yep. You get sidetracked looking at other stuff. So, well, Macey, before you get out of here, anything you want to plug or promote?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
Not, well,
I mean, she could have promoted her best friend since we just betrayed her. But
I know.
Yeah, could have put your best friend over, but you decided not to. That's all good. That knife, it'll just stay in that back for a little bit longer. So I'll help you out. If y'all want to see what Macey's doing on Monday night, maybe she's doing a podcast. Who knows? Or maybe it's Taco Tuesday. Who knows? Or you just want to see her hanging out on the weekend, going over to IG. That's Instagram for those old folks that don't know. I'm not throwing shade at myself. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. But head on over Macey Hodge. Or if you want to see Macey on the pitch doing things at Mississippi State, going over to Hale State Soccer, and you'll get to see all of the women's soccer action at Mississippi State. Macey, we wish you nothing but the best. If there's anything we can do for you along the way, please reach out to us.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely. Hopefully the Bellsmith will reach out to you. Hopefully Lounge will reach out
Lounge
to
has
you.
already done it. He said she's got the invite this weekend. It's on.
So you're gonna have bells and food. Like what more could
Right.
I mean,
I'm excited.
Let's go. That's Macey Hodge, everybody. We're going to take a quick little break. I mean, quick. We got to plug our sponsors so we can pay some of these bills. But when we come back, we got a lot of college baseball to unpack. We got the NBA All-Star game to talk about. And who knows, we might get into some Russell Westbrook.